Hello, I am here with some pitch control gameplay video finally. Um, I've recorded a bunch of games on ladder and I've cherry picked some interesting ones that I think offer a good learning opportunity that really show how to play the deck in certain matchups, or at least how you're supposed to play the deck, and common pitfalls that I and others playing the deck would run into. Yeah, so the first one, I'm gonna skip forward ahead. Um, make sure this is on 2x speed. First game's against Charizard, which we will see shortly. They start Luminion. Oh, nope, wrong game. Gotta go forward even more. This is the real game. So I'm going first. Got a Mimikyu start. Cool. And they also start Luminion, but the matchup is Charizard. So in the Charizard matchup, there's a few ways to win. The main one I usually go for is to get rid of all their attackers by using TM Devolution, as well as Airy and Misfortune Sisters to just get rid of all of their rare candies, make it so they can't attack with Charizard. That's the most surefire way I found to weaken the deck. Just give them a board state that doesn't really do much. And you see they get a pretty good start. Charmander, Pidgey, Duskull all in play. I just have a Pidgey. But I have a Luminion, so I'm guaranteed Pidgeot this turn. I'm just thinking of what to nest ball. They did start Luminion, so I feel like getting Sob this turn is kind of powerful. It guarantees that they can't attack, so it buys me some time. And this is enabled because I can quick search for the Jet Energy, which is really nice in this deck. So this will let me Sob. And in this version, I added 1/1 Feebas. This is just for testing. If you saw my previous list, I cut one Mimikyu and Mawile to put in the 1/1 Feebas. In theory, it's pretty good. It stops Turo, and that's mainly it. It makes Guardy really good. It makes Arcaludon really good. And in this case, it stops Turo on the Luminion, so I can Sob for a few turns. But here, I think I go for a boss. Yeah, maybe. I'm indecisive. So my thinking here is I can boss the Pidgeot and start using Sob on that. I'm scared that most Charizard decks run Thornton, so they could Thornton away the Luminion, and that's one way to break the Saw block. But you obviously can't Thornton Pidgeot because it's on a basic, so this will be stuck for a while. And this just buys me more turns. It lets me keep on milling their cards with Airy, Misfortune Sisters. Gives me a bit more time to just fully establish a board that is hard to deal with. You see they don't attack with the Pidgeot this turn. They just attach one fire. This gives me a chance to set up. One other thing I should be focusing on here is setting up another Pidgeot. Just having one's kind of a liability because Dusknoir plus Zard can kill it at any time. So it's a bit dangerous. I should be using Arizone here this turn for Pidgey to just guarantee the Pidgeot next turn, but I think that's a small misplay on my part. I still am buying a lot of turns just by using Sob. They didn't put damage on me last turn, so I don't feel too threatened. And I think here they're going to make a misplay. Obviously, they're trying to set up their board as best they can. I think they're not playing too well. They're going to burn a rare candy here to get Dusknoir and pop it. Like, that's just a free rare candy in the discard for me. You know, that's not optimal. I think they forgot they weren't allowed to retreat because they wasted a counter catcher as well. So, yeah, quite unfortunate. It gives me a big opportunity, and I hit the third rare candy off the Misfortune Sisters. So already I'm like quite in the lead. But what I'm mindful of is that if I Devo, this Charizard evolved from a Charmeleon, so he'll be able to just evolve it and be right back in action. So I kind of have to play around that. And one way to do that, there's a Thornton. One way to do that is by attacking the Charizard first with a Pidgeot, doing 100 damage, and then using the TM Devo. You take 2 prize cards, you knock out both the Charizard and the Pidgeot, you make it so they can't get Pidgeot out anymore, and their board's basically just this Charmander. So all in all, that sounds really good. This turn, I have an opportunity. I don't have the DT in hand, so I can't really do it. I'd have to bench the Lumineon for boss in order to do it, and I don't really want to go for that. So I settle on just setting up 2 Pidgeot this turn and preparing everything I need to do it next turn. So yeah, get the second Pidgeot, get the DT for next turn so I can swing 100 into the Zard, and just sob for 20 more. I got the Bravery Charm as well. This makes it so that I don't die to the Pidgeot unless he pops the Duskull or he finds a vacuum with Pidgeot. So it just forces him to quick search for something very specific rather than something that'll help him react to my next turn. I am fully expecting this to get knocked out. But yeah, if they use the Dusclops to knock it out, which is most likely, at least that clears the Dusknoir from play. It gives me 1 more prize, putting me down to 4. Makes me map pretty well because I'm taking 2 prize cards in 2 turns. And then I just have to knock out 1 more thing, 1 more EX or V. So I draw the TM Devo. I'm going to quick search for boss. Hit him to the Charizard. And yeah, in this game, everything so far has been pretty good. I did the 2 Pidgeot strat. I'm setting up a big Devo turn. He can't even rare candy this turn because that makes my Devo even stronger. So yeah, everything seems to be going pretty well so far. And I think from here on is where I start to fall off the wheels a little bit. So I have a big turn setup. I have Iono and Devo in hand. They're probably just going to quick search either for their own Iono or looks like it's going to be a boss. So they could have chosen to knock out the Pidgeot EX, putting them down to 2. I don't know why they didn't, frankly. But yeah, I guess it's just preference. So I'm planning to attack with the Mimikyu, so even if he does draw the 4th rare candy, he can't knock out anything unless he also draws Countercatcher or a boss. And I can just quick search for the energy. So I get the Devo, and at this point, the game's pretty much sealed up. He is, however, at 3 prize cards, and I'm at 2. Being at 2 prize cards against Charizard is always risky, which is why I liked the Iono that turn. He could theoretically win if he has exactly Rare Candy, Charizard, Countercatcher, Briar. If he has those 4 cards out of his hand of 6 plus draw 3, and I know he has Charizard in hand because I just put it in his hand from Devolution. So if he does happen to hit Rare Candy, Briar, I guess he did need the Super Rods to get energy back in deck. Rare Candy, Briar, and Countercatcher, then I would just straight up lose. This is why Charizard's kind of a tricky matchup. Maybe knocking out the Pidgeot was not super great. I could have sobbed for 0 instead, or not brought it up to 60 damage to ensure that I'm not taking an extra prize. Just make it a bit more safe. But either way, he doesn't have it. He has to reset stamp. So it's pretty good. I could have also searched for Genesect there. Or no, I think the Nest Ball was from my prize cards. Yeah, they're just gonna draw cards. And at this point, I should have the game sealed up. What I should do is just boss the Charmander, quick search for DT, uh, and attach it to this Pidgeot. Like, that's probably the best play. Um, it's hard in the moment when you have a very limited amount of time to think to know what the best play is, because again, Charizard has so many outs. But at this point, I know that they've already used Thornton, so it should be pretty safe. But here I opt for Airy. I'm not entirely sure why. I think I'm looking to hit the last rare candy. I'm expecting them to have it in their hand. Um, there's probably other good cards to hit as well, but yeah, at least I can scout. And I see he has two Charizards, Briar, Energy. And at this point, like I'm still kind of feeling fine because as long as they don't top deck exactly your candy, then of course they top deck it. Yeah, the only one energy, still fine. He has one in hand. Um, this is still winnable. Of course, I misplayed, but he's just gonna draw more cards. So at this point, I kind of have to take a knockout. I know he has Briar in hand, so I know he just needs like one boss and he wins the game. So I have to take a knockout, get out of this two prize dangerous territory. And I do a lot of things right here. He misplayed by searching out this Duskull. And I'm gonna misplay by not attaching this energy or using this nest ball. So in this position, I should definitely attach the energy and Ultra Ball for the bear. This makes it so that I'm only one card away from winning, which is boss on the Duskull. He can knock out anything, and I have three different attackers all powered up, and I just need a boss on the Duskull, and that wins me the game. Because I didn't prepare a second attacker, I now need two cards to win the game, bear and boss. And there's still nest balls in my deck, so if he Ionos me, there's still a good chance, or there's still a non-zero chance I just draw the bear or the boss. Well, boss is going to the bottom after Iono, but there's a non-zero chance I draw the bear, and then I can just quick search for the other piece. But it would have just been guaranteed if I had attached the energy or if I had benched the bear. That's kind of the tricky part with this deck. Sometimes you rush through the motions, you forget that you're supposed to be setting up your board to be unbeatable, and sometimes that means benching lots of things or pre-attaching energies. And yeah, it's always like it feels kind of scary to bench things against Charizard, but I'm at one prize. He can't pop Dusknoir, he can't Briar. He has three prizes left. He only take one knockout. It just makes a lot of sense to prepare other things. So here I just do my only play, hope he doesn't have energy, and he has Turo energy for the game here. So this game was super winnable. I definitely should have won, but you know, we learn and we grow from that. The next game I want to show, I believe it is this one. Yes. Throw that on 2x speed. This one's going to be against Claw, and I'm going first again. Mulligan, skip forward. Yeah. I got a Squawk start. I got a Pidgey start. Don't know what the deck is, so I just searched for a second Pidgey. This is usually correct. Nestball for Rotom, draw 3. Had I known it was Cloth, I could have considered Artizone for Genesect to block the trolley. But that still is kind of risky. They could just have like enough gas to get the poison plus retreat into Peccarunt, even without trolley. So yeah, that would be kind of risky. Like, well, he just has 5 basics in hand and Iono. You know, this would have been pretty scary if this was my only Pidgey in play, but yeah, now maybe it's okay. Pecorant. Does he have the tool? He has Seal Stone. And you can search for tool and then probably find a switch. Oh, right. That is a switch. Fair enough. So the cloth matchup kind of goes like um, we just try to remove the ancient booster capsule 3 times. Just using Regieleki and Lost Vacuum. So I just price check for Lost Vacuum. That's the only thing you really need to check for. Gonna get rid of the tool. And then I'm gonna recover the vacuum with Regieleki. And once they're out of tools, they can't poison, they can't really hit their numbers. Terrapagos gets capped severely. Cloth can do like 10 damage, nothing else. They can't poison you out, so you can just send up Noivern and sweep, which is why I got the Noibat and benched it. My hand's kind of low though. I'm gonna have to probably vacuum the Ultra Ball or something else dead that I draw. And he's just gonna take a knockout. And this is the best way that Cloth would play. And it's by not attaching the tool when they don't need to. That's the right way to play it. I'm going to send up the Mimikyu to kind of force him to attach the tool, or just have boss. And this is the backup in case they find a way to Iron Bundle this turn. But here they could easily go for a poison knockout, or sorry, only 60 damage. Here, their best out is just boss. They still have their V-Star active, so it's very likely they'll get a knockout here. But it looks like they're choosing to play it kind of slow. Maybe they have a switch card in hand. Or maybe they're planning to switch into Pecorant just to do poison damage. But that does let me get another vacuum down. So at this point, I'm just going to... I think I should just set up Noivern. I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. Aries, not super great. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Yeah, this does happen with Pidgeot, where you kind of reach a point where there's so many options you just don't know what to do. And I definitely missed an opportunity there. I do think attacking with Noivern was probably best, or even just using Thornton on Rotom, or yeah, just removing the 2-prize Rotom on board was probably best. I think I prized Yakumo. That would have also been pretty good, just to make him try to find another energy to attack. But surely he has boss now. Yep. So yeah, I think removing this 2-prize liability was probably my best option. Of course, he could have attached a tool and probably knocked out Pidgeot, or not Pidgeot, but Noivern, and that would have been bad. So maybe that is a reason to hold Noivern, or to hold the Thornton, but even then, yeah, and he's down to 2 prizes. He's taken 4 prize cards without using his tool, which is kind of bad for me. And I see he has 2 in hand, and not much draw, and no energy. So if I did have Yakumo, that would have been really good. Or Yakumo's not even prized. I probably should have done that last turn. Yeah, this Covert Flight will stick. He'll probably just poison me. Threaten to take 2 prizes eventually on this. But it gets me closer to that win condition of running him out of tools. Let's see, he thinks for a while here. I think as Cloth, maybe your best play is to just poison and get some damage on this. I don't actually remember what he goes for here. You can find another energy. We're just gonna wait it out. The cloth powered up. Yeah, I think he's kind of hesitant to attach his tools, which is probably smart. Here a Yakumo would go pretty hard. I think that's what I do. I hope that's what I do. Yep. Get him out of energy. Palpad the Yakumo again, and just hit for 50. It's almost at a point where the game's pretty much sealed up. Sure, he can poison this, get 6 damage on it, but I can just Lost Vacuum the tool, retreat and Penny and Mimikyu get rid of poison, and now he's down to 1 tool. And I can also Night Stretcher for Regieleki and get my vacuum back. Yeah. This is typically how the cloth matchup goes. You're always in the driver's seat. You pretty much just have to not mess up. And at this point, I know he has 2 Ancient Booster Capsules in his hand. And 1 other card. And he's just stalling me out, which is probably his best option. I'm just going to continue with my disruption path. I don't really like this play. I like that his board didn't allow for Iron Bundle to come down, and it didn't allow for a Sneasler either, which could build up some significant poison damage. And I know, I think he still has area zeros. Maybe he's completely out. But he also doesn't have the other Pecorant EX in play. So, and no switch card now. Yeah, so he's out of area zeros. So I like the stadium now, actually. And pretty much I just have a lot of win conditions. Like there are at least 3 different options that result in me not losing. And I managed to go for the option that actually just loses the game straight up. Like here, all I have to do is start attacking with Mawile, and I'm pretty sure I just win the game. But I don't know. You know, this I guess this happens with control. You get kind of caught up, like you can start tunneling in on your 1 win condition. You stop to think about all the other ones that exist. Also, this TM Devo should not be in my hand this long. And the win condition I really want to go for is, you know, just wrapping this up as quickly as possible so I can move on to the next game. There we go. The tool's gone now. Iono him to 2. Take a knockout. And from here, I kind of get like a false sense of security, you could say. And you would think, oh yeah, this is just an auto win. Why am I showing this? Well, when you think matchups are auto wins, it really opens you up to big misplays. And I get baited here. I'm like, oh, a 2 prizer. I can take 2 prizes. That sounds good. Take 2 prizes this turn. That's like 2 attacks away from winning the game. If I take this knockout, and then I take 2 more knockouts, it's over. He has 3 cards. Surely there's no way for him to come back. But he promotes the cloth. He has Lumineon for colors. He just needs DTE, Artizone for a mushroom, and a tool, and it's over. But he has to research. He has DTE in hand. He probably should have Artizone first. Or I guess there was none in deck. But yeah, I lose to the exact combo he needs when literally any other option would have won me the game. So yeah, that's a good lesson in playing control. You should always think about your other win conditions and play towards those. This last game I'm going to show is Big Dub. I think this is Gardevoir matchup, and I don't know, people seem to think that Gardevoir is tough for Pidgeot, but I think it's like close to even. Maybe slightly Gardevoir favored, but only like the top 0.1% of Guardy players. Most of the time, people just don't know the control matchup. It's not something you would test. It's like a less than 1% deck at regionals. You're not really going to test for it. And that's kind of how you catch them. They just misplay. But the general strategy is you use Mawile and you use Ogerpon to retreat lock something. And they start Greninja, so that's a really good target to retreat lock. I think I guess that they're playing Lost Box, which is why I searched for Regieleki. But it ends up being Guardy. So, very good matchup. Oh, that's why it's slow. I didn't speed it up. There we go. So they're going to retreat this turn. Never mind, they're going to get to Curlia, be kind of greedy. Totally fair. It's not like Pidgeot plays Jet Energy to bring up their Ogerpon. That'd be crazy. Unfortunately, I do not hit an energy or a rare candy off the top, but I do hit Sealstone Ultra Ball, so I can get it anyways. Big dub. Quick prize check. I have no idea what's prized. But I can Pidgeot, get the Jet Energy, and start sobbing. Oh. Jet Energy is prized. But I can Devolution, delay him at least a turn. That's not bad. That is not too bad. Although having just one card in hand is kind of rough. Ogerpon can be good in the Guardy matchup. Sometimes they just overbench and they won't have anything that doesn't have an ability. I mean, this like rarely ever happens. Guardy players usually know better than to fill their bench, but it is funny when you catch them off guard. Yeah, I'm confused by that. So he should retreat here. Looks like he decides to give me a fresh hand, which is very nice, very generous. And he chooses not to retreat. Yeah. This is just a very clear saw block angle. Kirby Charm's fine. Yeah, bringing down to 3 cards. Here I definitely should have evaluated whether I was going to play Xerosic first, and then chosen to do it before playing the rest of my cards, because that, like, if they're seeing my end of turn board state compared to my start of turn board state, that'll influence what they discard off the Xerosic. So if I know for sure I'm going to play it, I should always play it first. But looks like he just has a Turo, which is good. But there's a Manaphy right there, so the sobbing is going to continue. But surely they account for this. They probably run Palpad. Once again, they're overbenching. You can't really get out 3 Kirlia because they only run 2 Gardevoir EX. So you can start saw blocking a Kirlia too. Which is something people often neglect. You can actually saw block Kirlias because there's only 2 Gardevoir EX. It looks like they're just going to make the classic Gardevoir mistake, which is overcommitting all their energy to one Pokemon. And taking, is this a knockout? 240? It's not even a knockout. Which is kind of awkward because I kind of wanted to counter catcher, but I do have the boss in hand, so it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, I'm carefully evaluating all the different win conditions, and I feel like Sob is the strongest, so that's what I'm going to go for. I don't know what the penny's for. Looks like the penny's for the overpawn. Yeah, not sure what I'm doing now. It's a bad sign when you're confused by your own gameplay, but surely there's some sort of plan in mind. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. Clearly. Even though that turn seemed abysmal, it's still fine. Guardy doesn't run too many energy. I think it's like 8 psychic, 2 or 3 dark, probably 2 dark, something like that. And there's 6 committed to this Screamtail, which means I don't even need to use Sob. And I think you'll see this turn. I believe it's this turn. Gonna think a little bit. Search. Gonna set up the second Pidgeot. Nope. Gonna set up a Psychic Energy for some reason. And draw 3. But yeah, I boss up the Gardevoir, and there's no energy in his discard. I'm just assuming he's gonna have a tough time retreating this. He could obviously just discard 2 Psychic right now, but he doesn't. So he doesn't have any in hand, which is very telling. And this is kind of just the strategy I'm going to go for this game. He's at 13 cards in deck, 5 in hand, 18 total. He already turroed his ninja. Maybe he doesn't have a second. Maybe there's still a Palpad I need to snipe with Misfortune Sisters. Maybe that's why he's drawing cards. But he hasn't taken any prizes yet. So I feel like I'm in a really good spot. There's probably 1 or 2 energy prized. He's very likely to be able to move this Guardian next turn, so I'm just going to set up another Pidgeot. Gonna quick search probably for Palpad. Nope. This is another thing I feel like I misplay a lot with Pidgeot, is I always play around them running 1 TM devolution So I always overcommit missed energies to Pidgeots, just in case. I've never been punished. I probably have been punished. I don't know. Wasting a quick search on that's kind of rough, but no, it's probably fine. And yeah, at this point, I don't even need to attack. I'm not using Sob. I'm not using Tempting Trap. He's just locking himself out of the game. He just cannot retreat this Guardy. And no matter what I do, I cannot throw because I'm just too far in the lead. Yeah, this was went back when I was in the 1620s, which is probably explains that Guardy's play. Yeah, I hope you learned something from those 3 videos. I'm gonna keep playing more. Hopefully have more interesting games to throw in. Yeah, please subscribe.